Hello, welcome to Steve's Retro Loft. I got a Next. It's pretty good. Let's have a look at it. I mean, there's been about 4 million other videos about it, and I'm about 3 years late. But yeah, let's have a look at the Next and see how great it is. Right, let's see how long it takes the Next to boot up. See if I can get the camera to focus on the screen. Right, so say anyone that's ever used Fuse or a 1 to 8 or 1 to 8 plus 2 or plus 3, it's a very similar menu system. It's obviously got the Sinclair stripes. So if I want to play some games quickly, just click on the browser. And then I've got the games directory, which is the same games directory that I've got on my Hermit Retro Spectrum. Effectively, I just copied the same files over. So let's see if I can go down to S and download one of those School Days games, or play one of the School Days games. It's a bit quicker acting interface. The actual processor seems to be a lot faster than the Raspberry Pi on the Hermit Retro and Fuse. So open up School Days, and you can see it loads pretty instantly because it's a tap file. To have a quick look at the game, not actually going to play it, just a quick demo, so on to the next thing. Yeah, obviously the menu is quite basic, and you've seen some of these things before. Let's have a look onto the extended part of the menu, where you've got 48K basic and 128K basic. Now these are actually proper modes from the ROM, I believe. ZX80 and ZX81 basic, I believe, are emulated. The actual other two aren't emulation, because the actual FPGA chip is pretty much a hardware recreation in a chip of the original logic of which was in the original Spectrum, so that's why they behave and function in the same way as before. Obviously there's other options in here. You can adjust the speed at the top. You've got 3.5 megahertz. I think if you do left and right on the arrows, and then you can actually select different clock speed, which is quite handy if you've got a slowish or sluggish game, sort of like Starglider or whatever, which you might want to just knock up to maybe 7 or 8 megahertz, I think it goes to, and I think it goes all the way up to about 28. It probably might be a bit unplayable at that speed. But yeah, it's so you got some of the settings there. Obviously, the interface 2 setting, you can do some things. There's various different tools. So I'm not going to go into the full, full range of everything that you can do on the Next. Obviously, that's down to people that do better videos than me. But yeah, it's just a quick go and a quick demo of how things are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load up Saboteur. Actually, it's the recreated version of Saboteur for the Sinclair Spectrum Next. Basically, it's the same game, but it's just better graphics rather than graphics. Obviously, with a Tribute Clash the Spectrum has. What Clive Townsend has done is actually programmed it with sort of higher resolution graphics, which is what the Next is capable of, and that's why the Next is such a great machine. It's a Spectrum, but it's the next version of the Spectrum, or what we think the next version of the Spectrum would be. As you can see, I'm going to Saboteur, and I'll select the keys, make sure the correct ones are there. Unfortunately, I've managed to lose the sound effects on the game. My fault, but there you go. I'll select the easy skill level because, I'm still terrible at the game. And to be fair, I'd much prefer having a joypad. So as you can see, the actual Saboteur itself is much more sort of colourful and much more detail in the body, and obviously the suit and the dogs. Obviously, as lovely as they are. As you can see, I'm still pretty useless at the game, so still aimlessly wandering around, not sure what to do. Actually, I do know what to do. I know where to go and what to do, but at this moment in time, I won't do that. I just want to have a quick demonstration and show the gameplay and how the game looks. But yeah, it's a nice recreation. What Clive also has, he's got a version of the game which is an adventure game, which I've not seen yet, I've not played or had a look at yet. And he's also got another game which is, I think it's like an Arkanoid type clone, but I'm not really a big fan of that type of game. Hopefully what he is doing, and I believe he is a new version of, obviously Saboteur 2 Avenging Angel will be out at some point. So yeah, that's probably give me another purchase. And the games themselves, I think Clive releases them for about £20 each, which is quite good. So there you go. Anyway, that's enough of that. Back to the main screen. Next game up is I'm going to load Starglider, but I'm actually going to load the TZX version, TZZ or whatever it is, that one that actually emulates a tape loading. TZX, there you go. Now, the one thing I found is, and the one bug I found so far on this is Starglider, when it loads, seems to be running in some sort of slower mode. So I'll have to sort of maybe contact the next team or maybe the people on the Facebook. The people are usually quite helpful, whether I'm doing something wrong or not, or whether it's just an iffy version of this download I've got. But that said, I know this download works fine on my Hermit Retro Spectrum, so not entirely sure why it is a little bit slower. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one the way it loads. So he sort of loads up as normal, and then he just loads like a normal Sinclair Spectrum game. So if you like waiting for games to load, download one of those type of files. Anyway, I won't sit through this load because it's a 128 game. It takes a while, and yeah, I'll join us when we have the music on. As you can see, the game's loaded, but as you might be able to tell, the music does sound a little bit slow for some reason. So yeah, not sure what's going on there, so I'll bin that off. Yeah, so far that's been my only problem with the Spectrum Next, and again, it's just one game and it could be down to one download. Anyway, time to have a look at something else. I did have an up-to-date version of... oh, I'll go back here. I did have an up-to-date version of Sabrewolf, which appeared somewhere. And I think, yeah, the next version of the Sabrewolf. Now, there's no real difference with the game other than the fact that I think they've sorted out the attribute clash. Define keys. Obviously, the only keys you want. And a space pause. So, start game. You see it doesn't seem much, but the actual game, as you say, it was always a fast-moving game, was Sabrewolf, and oops. And by sorting out the attribute clash, they sorted out probably the only thing that was wrong with the game. Have it. But yeah, so it's still the same brilliant game, and it's still quite a hard game to complete. I have done it once in my life, so yeah, there's no massive rush to do it again. But yeah, there we go. So that's some of the little enhancements that they've done. Obviously, there's a new version of Head Over Heels to come out, or recreated version with more colourful graphics, which I believe they're working on, and it should come free because it's a Kickstarter too, although in my case I didn't buy it originally, so the person who sold it me hopefully will be able to sort that out once it becomes available. But yeah, other than that, it's brilliant. It's been a great investment. It's a little bit pricey, but sometimes when you want something, it's worth paying a little bit more money for it. And I don't think I paid over the top, to be perfectly honest. I think I paid a sort of reasonable price, about £400, which is only £50 more than the original Kickstarter. Now they do sort of. The actual team have sort of hinted a Kickstarter free maybe on the cards at some point, but I think what they want to do is they just want to get Kickstarter 2 out the way and delivered. I believe it's out to most people around the world now. Probably still one or two people in the far-flung areas of the world have had issues. I know there was an issue with some couriers not liking the type of battery it had in the computer, which was weird because it's only a coin cell which appears in absolutely everything. But there you go. But yeah, it's fully. It's a great little machine. There's lots of things I've yet to explore. Yeah, things like the ZOS, and obviously the next basic I've not really done much in. But it comes with a very, very thick, comprehensive manual. I'll go and grab that now. Also comes with a handy Kickstart guide as well, which obviously I fully read because yeah, to avoid any of the daft questions. So if you buy one of these and you're having trouble getting it connected to your monitor, if you want to run it through the VGA monitor or run it through HDMI, then you know, refer to Quick Start Guide. And the manual is very good, very complex. I had a quick flick through this, and there was one or two things I wanted to figure out how to get working, and the manual sort of pointed me in the right direction. Now, I believe they're going to try and get a PDF version of this manual out at some point, but currently it's in its state that printers recognise, not computer printers, people who print manuals in a sort of format they recognise, but not a PDF, because it's be quite handy, because it's a nice manual and I don't particularly want to ruin it by searching through it all the time when I need to look for something. So but yeah, so a PDF based version of the manual would be ideal for me, because as I say, it'll cut down wear and tear on the original, and it also means I can then put the original away in its box and keep that box nice and clean somewhere else. So there you go, that's a very quick look at the Next. Brilliant bit of hardware. It's lovely design. Yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at the keyboard. So zoom in on that if we can. So it's very much like the Spectrum Plus keyboard, or the 128, but the actual keys are more low profile. The actual it's the enhancement that the QL keyboard had over the Plus, and then it's enhanced even further, because the feel of the QL keyboard, if anyone's ever used one, felt a lot better than the Spectrum Plus, in my opinion. And so the keys aren't as raised as they were in the Spectrum Plus. There's still a fair bit of travel in them. They're not as low profile as some of the modern keyboards, but it feels quite nice to type on. Yeah, and you never got cut on the old one, but I always felt the Spectrum Plus had quite sharp keys. It wasn't a bad design, but I just think at the time they probably couldn't get them this low profile. But yeah, it's been quite good. I've enjoyed it. So it's a nice little keyboard. And you see there's the there's the joystick ports on the front, and the expansion on the back is just like a normal Spectrum. But there's a couple of additional ports. But you know what? You've probably seen all this on all the other videos. Yeah, it's good. So hopefully what I can start doing in the future is probably even start to look at a few more games I want to play. Yeah, I'll start doing, using the Next. And the great thing is what the Next does, and what the Hermit Retro Spectrum does, it allows me to keep my original hardware a bit longer without actually causing any problems. Because obviously the Spectrum is 40 odd years now, 42 years old this year, in April 2024. So yeah, these things are getting older, and it means I can extend the lifetime of the original hardware by using obviously the devices I've got previously, and obviously this new recreation, which is yeah, wonderful. And there you go, that's a quick look at the Spectrum Next. As I said, it's a bit of a weird one, really, because I didn't particularly want one at first. I mean, I kept hearing about it, I saw it a few times at a few Spectrum events I went to, and then the more I saw it, the more I got interested in it. And when I became interested in it, it wasn't available. But fortunately, I managed to pick one up from a Facebook group. Somebody who bought a Kickstarter didn't have the time to invest in it, so he put it up for. But there was a bit of a ballot, and I won. Fortunately, I had to pay, obviously, but I was fortunate to get it, so I'm really pleased of. Going forward, whether there'll be a Kickstarter free. I hope so, because obviously there seems to be a lot more interest in it, and yeah, it should probably be the same machine again, but yeah, they obviously did a white one for the people who were involved with the project, and they actually gave one away at the Crash 2023 event back in November or October last year. But yeah, and that looks superb. I'll stick a picture of it above me now. It's a wonderful one. Whether they'll do different colours, I don't know. Obviously that means retooling or changing a few things for different colours. It might add more complications on, and I think from what they were saying, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey operation the next time they produce, if they do produce these. I think they probably would. The sort of hints are heading that way, and as it's a Kickstarter, they don't need to do anything until they get the funding in, and they've delivered on the first two Kickstarters. Obviously the second Kickstarter was horrendously delayed because the event that happened in 2018, 19 and whatever. But there you go, enough of me waffling on. Thank you for joining us and looking at this next video. it will appear in other videos that I produce in the future. I'm just glad to have got one when I did, and I say it's a great bit of kit, and if you can get one at a decent price, go for it, you won't be disappointed. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.